So here we are at the eve of the World Cup, ready to go. Today in our episode, we're going to discuss predictions, some interesting questions, some basic ones, some kind of left field questions. Let's see what Moin and I think about all the teams and their chances for the World Cup. But before we get to that, Moin, Pakistan, another interesting performance in the warm-up game against Australia. It seemed like one of those street cricket games, when if the game is finishing early,
Exactly what I was gonna say. If ever
you
there was a
you send your
classic
little
like,
cousin into bat
and then
or to bowl just to
nobody cares.
give him an over or two just to make a match
Exactly.
out of it.
You're asking everyone to go and bat. Chalo, usko bhi chance kara do. Usko bhi chance kara do. You're asking everyone. But then I think the ultimate was Australia. It felt as if Australia were the big cousins playing against the small cousins, and then you're like, in front, against them, let's go easy on them. Let's go easy. Chalo, Warner, why don't you bowl? Oh, Labuschagne, why don't you bowl? It was almost as if it was like they felt they didn't want to hurt us by getting their big players on, and it was just weird. Like, so Shakil didn't play. I mean, Salman Aga, God knows what PR machine he's got that gets him in again and again. Um, and he's like the ambassador of the team now on social media. And then you had Babar Azam, who conveniently retires before Cummins comes on to bowl. So it was a bit strange, right? But I felt the weirdest was Shadab Khan's two statements at the post-match presentation. One is, "Oh yeah, we know our 11. We were just testing our bench strength right now." Do you really know your 11? Usually, if things are obvious to me, they're not obvious to you. So if they're not obvious to us, then they're definitely not obvious to you. And mate, like, sorry to break it to you, you don't know your best 11, and if you do, you're not in it. Especially after today. But he felt as if he was trying to just prove a point. Yeah, yeah, we know our 11. No, no, please stop saying we know our 11. And so that worried me. And the second bit was at the toss, he was like, "Oh yeah, no, but we're here to win. Winning is a habit. We want to get in the habit." And then the post match, "Oh yeah, we didn't care about winning. We just wanted to give everyone a chance." Wait, what? You literally just said winning is a habit. Um,
You forgot the most important point he made about Hyderabadi biryani and how they're
and
having it every
yes,
day, and that's affected them in the field.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got a lot of confidence for a guy who has just literally been awful. I mean, I in my previous episode, I was well, a couple episodes ago, I talked about how Pakistan should play Osama Mir and perhaps play with two leggies. I think what I didn't take into the equation was the fact that there's dew, right? So two
Yeah,
leggies on a wet ball, if you lose the toss, is a bit tough.
yeah,
And I actually think Osama Mir was very good. So if you
yeah.
really go on merit, Osama gets in. And I think Nawaz, with bat and ball, outperformed. So I think Babar needs to make a very brave call and drop his vice captain. Something tells me they know their 11 and
It's
Shadab's in it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Shadab will start, guaranteed. But anyways, moving on to the World Cup itself, there are 9 more teams. So let's start discussing some of our predictions for the World Cup. Obviously, we had our previews where we gave some insights, but we'll go into a bit more detail in this episode. Let's start off with the biggest question: who is going to win the World Cup?
I think that's probably going to be one of the only places where it's going to be unanimous here. I think it's India. Home advantage, best team in the tournament for the conditions, and most in form, right? You can have the best team leading up to a tournament, but if you lose a form at an alarming rate like Pakistan, then you struggle. So India for me.
Yeah. Yep, India. I think I've been waxing little about them in our previous episodes, so don't need to say too much more. So I'm going to go with India, and then top 4.
So I'm going to go with, and I'll just make a disclaimer here. If I go with my mind, it's India, England, Pakistan, Australia, in that order. In fact, I think both my heart and mind say the same thing here.
I'm going to go India, England, Australia, Pakistan slash Sri Lanka, Pakistan. I'm just going to get Pakistan in. in that order. So India Pakistan semi-final. But
And yeah, I'm yeah, I'm going for a Pakistan England semi-final. I think that's perhaps our best chance out of the three. Look, I think ultimately, you know, losing a semi-final is, in my book, worse than losing a final. Because when you lose a final, you at least feel like you've got to the grandest stage, and you've got to the biggest event of the World Cup. For whatever it's worth, you get your silver medals, and you're part of the spectacle. But in the semi-final, it's a case of so close yet so far. You get so close, but yet you get reduced to a mere footnote in the record books, right? You become forgotten, nobody remembers, there's no third or fourth, and it just becomes really depressing that you lose out on the last hurdle before the main event, right? And nobody remembers, right? It becomes just an etch, a little footnote in the record books.
yeah, no, that is true. Pakistan notoriously have been falling at the semi-final hurdles at the World Cup quite a few times. But well, this year I think it will be an achievement to get there. But let's see. um, so moving into a few more individual awards, I can go first on this one. Player of the tournament, Hardik Pandya.
You've also got Hardik Pandya. Look at that! Look at that! I thought I was going for a left field choice there. Because people think of the best batters and best bowlers, but often, I just feel when India play with Pandya, they're playing with 12 people, right? He can make an impact with the bat and the ball. And it's not like, a quick fire 20 and
Yeah.
1 for 40. It's match winning with both bat and ball. So for
True.
me, I think Pandya is a strong choice.
So far, it's been the same, but I think we're going to start to differ here because I've got a slightly left field pick for the next one. Top run scorer.
I'm going, and let's give everyone context. There is money involved, and we put it into a spreadsheet. There is emotional hedging that goes into these predictions. So, amongst a wider group of people. So here I've gone with a hedge, and I've gone Virat Kohli.
I've gone a bit left field because I knew most people would go with Sharma, Kohli, Babar. I've gone for David Malan, who's been in phenomenal form and is very capable of scoring big. So
it's funny when you said left field suggestion, it's the first thought that came into my mind. I wanted to even say it. I'm like, it's Malan. Yeah, look, I think it's a great choice. In fact, I had him down as top run scorer for the T20 World Cup in 2021 when he was top ranked, and boy, did he disappoint then. But I think ODI suits him more.
But the thing with Malan is, look, and this is something that Abdullah Shafiq can learn from, right? He is literally one bad performance away from being dropped, and people are waiting for him to fail because Jason Roy is waiting, and England want a reason to play Jason Roy. But he never gives them a chance. He just keeps scoring again and again and again, and you have to give it to him. He's made his mark in the T20 format, and now also in the ODI format. He's kind of opening the batting. Kind of displaced Joe Root in T20 cricket, so you really have to give it to him. Right, top wicket taker.
This is where my heart came in. I had enough hedging, and I said I need to go with my heart here. Look, I've gone with Shaheen Afridi. Now, I think it's a bit left field, given that people often think it's a spinner. But for me, I think in order for Pakistan to have a chance, I think Shaheen Afridi needs to deliver. And he is perhaps, out of all the fast bowlers, on his day, he swings the ball more than anyone else, and I back him.
Yeah, I've gone for Trent Boult. Kind of a safe pick, I'd say, because he's always there and thereabouts. He'll open the bowling, take a couple of wickets with the new ball. Probably, if you look at recent form and upgrade on what Shaheen Afridi has been doing, he's actually getting it in the right areas and getting it to swing. And then he bowls it at the death as well, and can be expensive at times, but still picks up wickets. And I think that's when when you're looking at top wicket takers, you need to look at bowlers who bowl at the death because they've always got a higher probability of taking wickets. But yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go all India because Bumrah was obviously another obvious pick, but
Bumrah, very
it
obvious.
would have been
Yeah,
I
same.
just didn't want to go India for everything, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I thought of Stark. I thought Stark had bowled really well, but then I had to curtail myself because that was a warm up against Netherlands, so I
And that
switched.
Stark has been the top wicket taker last two World Cups. So I mean, is he going to do it three times in a row?
Yeah,
Probably
maybe
not. Anyways, fastest century. I have got Joss Butler, another safe pick.
Yeah, so I went, it was between Gill and Butler, and I think there's another question that's similar. I went Shubman Gill, one, because he opens the batting, so he has an impact earlier on in the game. And two, I just think home conditions, right? I mean, as Pakistanis, we've forgotten what home advantage means in more reasons than one. We never win at home anymore. But I do think, at home, Shubman Gill, and also, when you're a youngster like that, there's no pressure. You know,
Yeah.
you can play really freely. Often, with all your best players, they've often had their first World Cup as their best. Inzamam, key example. So I just think, there's a lot of pressure on Butler as captain. And I just thought Shubman Gill, young, he's around Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli to play the anchor role. He's got the license and he is enormously talented.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar theme, most sixes. Which batsman with the
Now,
most
this is
sixes?
where I've gone Joss Butler. This is where he's coming in and he's just hitting them out of the park.
I think I've got Joss Butler as well. So I'm
Ah,
doubling down on Joss Butler.
doubling, where's the hedge?
I thought I thought he'll get one of the two at least, so I get one of those two right, maybe not both. So because I couldn't go with someone else. I did think Sharma because he's known for his six hitting as well, but um, yeah, there were quite a few options. None of them from Pakistan, unfortunately. But yeah, I've
Not
gone
as
for
good as Shafiq. No.
I've gone for Butler.
Um,
Here's an interesting one. Which group game is going to have the highest aggregate total?
I think this is a safe choice for me, isn't it? It was India, England for me.
Okay. Well, I've gone for England, South Africa, and I think the majority of the people in the group went for that because that is played at the Wankhede and two weakish bowling attacks relatively. And Wankhede is known to be a high scoring
That's
ground,
a
so
very
that's why.
good shout, actually. Where are India, England playing? Ahmedabad? No, not in. It's in Lucknow, and it's a smaller stadium. I think there's shorter boundaries, and also I just think, look, I think it's a really good shout, England, South Africa. But I think with India, England, I know India have a strong bowling attack, but I just think people like Kuldeep Yadav, etc. How do they do against batters that take them on is a question. Even Siraj, for that
Yeah.
matter. So I think it's a South Africa tend to choke.
Keeping on with the theme of high run scoring, how many times will 400 be scored, 400 above be
0.
scored? Wow. Really? Not even like Netherlands against England? England scored like
No,
500, not 498.
I and before, so the one belief that I have, and it's held me in good stead, as you can tell everyone who the two-time winner of this spreadsheet is. The belief I have is whatever you see in bilateral cricket is very different.
Yeah.
In a world tournament, there's pressure in every game. You don't see, now I could be this could age very badly, but you don't see the same ridiculously high scores that you see in pointless bilateral.
Yeah.
So no 400s.
I've got two. I just thought, the Netherlands will face India, Australia, England. One game they'll have to field first. And
I just think 400 is a lot to do. You've got to do so much right to get there. And there's so much pressure.
Well, New Zealand nearly got there. If they would have batted the 50 overs against Pakistan, they would have gotten there. But anyways, so and again, keeping up with the run scoring, will there be any double centuries, individual scores?
No.
I've gone for one. Again, similar theme.
Yeah. And similar theme for me. You don't see it. There's the pressure. You don't see it. I mean, and you have the history to prove it. You have.
Okay, so a couple of mean ones. Fakhar Zaman. Now, this is assuming he plays in the India game. What's his range of runs going to be? So we've got ranges from 0 to 10, 10 to 20,
Yes.
onwards.
So just for everyone's benefit here, this is no one gets any points if he doesn't play. So on that basis, I said, all right, I'm going with 31 to 49, and I'll explain. I think even though I don't think Fakhar Zaman should be in the starting 11, even though Abdullah Shafiq was disappointing, although he looked good, and so did Fakhar Zaman, it's India tracks are flat, right? It's not like Sri Lanka; they're not as double paced. So I think if Fakhar Zaman does play against India, I think he'll do his best and get to 31 to 49. But that tells you a lot that I think that is his best.
I think it'll be between 11 and 20, just because he'll start off hit a couple of edgy fours and then get out playing a
And then
stupid
the
shot.
spin comes on. It's all spin. The spin comes on. He's hopeless. Maxwell. He made Maxwell the next Murli Dhawan.
Right. And then Shadab Khan, is he going to have a higher batting average or a higher bowling average?
Now, for everyone's benefit, this spreadsheet was submitted last evening. So I did not see the walloping he got today. He's like, I went with batting, and the reason is not because I think he'll have a great World Cup, but because he comes in at number 7 and he'll have a few not outs. And not outs, unfortunately, right or wrong, boosts your batting average more than it should. Iftikhar Rao Anjum, our number 10 bowler, had an average of 79 for most of his ODI career because he had so many not outs. So I'm going there. But he
I've
won't
gone
play.
I've gone for batting, just because again not outs, and he'll take wickets against Netherlands and maybe against Afghanistan, Bangladesh. So he'll get his chance, and he might not get to bat against those teams. So yeah. Rohit Sharma, in the Pakistan India group game, which over will he get dismissed in?
So I am a big believer in the numbers game, right? Rohit Sharma has got the better of Shaheen Afridi in the last game. Shaheen Afridi has had a few bad, not so great games. I think he's due for a good opening burst. So I back Shaheen Afridi to get him out in the 3rd over.
Finally, you've gone with your heart. I've gone for 21st over, which means he'll get a good start, get a quick 50.
Game over.
Similar to the Asia Cup game, and then try and hit out and get out after scoring like 50, 60. Right. Last one. The Fab Five, right? So you've got Babar Azam, Virat Kohli, Joe Root, Steve Smith, Williamson. Who's going to be the top scorer? Obviously, Williamson fitness issues, but just assuming that they all play.
Yeah.
Out of those 5, who's going to score the highest?
So obviously, I've gone with the highest run score, Kohli, because this was a different question. I hedged and went Babar Azam.
I think I've gone Joe Root because when it matters, I think Joe Root. I don't know. He's got something about him. He's not been in the best of form, but there is just something about Joe Root where he will hit 70, 80 every game, get 100 here and there.
And the great thing about him is his role is very clear in the team. It couldn't be clearer. All you've got to do is just stay there, right? With Babar Azam, he needs to do everything.
Yeah.
So I think he's got that easy. But look, why don't we talk about the 11? The choice of 11. I think that is a very interesting one.
The team of the tournament?
Yeah, team of the tournament. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. So I've got Rohit Sharma, and I've had to look at balance, right? So I've had to put a keeper in and all of those things. You don't have to. Yeah. You can only get points for whoever you get right. So I've gone for Sharma, Quinton de Kock, Kohli, Babar, again, number 3, 4, whatever. You don't have to play the exact position. But then I've got Kohli, Babar. At 5, I think I've got Ben Stokes. Then I've got Butler at 6, of course. Hardik Pandya at 7. Then I have Kuldeep Yadav 8, Shaheen Afridi, Jasprit Bumrah, Trent Bolt. Obviously 8, 9, 10, they're all probably more 10 and 11 players, but there's a good chance that at least 3 of those 4 will be there. So
I went with David Warner because I just think, Australia's opening pair are very strong and he's a lefty. I've got David Warner, Shubman Gill, Babar Azam, Virat Kohli. Big choice for me between Ben Stokes or David Miller. Big choice. I went Miller. I just think, again, numbers game. I think Ben Stokes has had 2 phenomenal World Cups won some phenomenal games in conditions that are a little different to what we're going to see in India. He
Yeah.
hasn't played much ODI cricket. I just think, again, probability, right? Can a one man be so invincible? He might be. He's the closest there is, but yes. But I've got
Right.
Miller at 5 because I think he's brilliant. Number 6, Butler. Number 7, Pandya. Number 8, I went with Shaheen Afridi. I went Jasprit Bumrah, Kuldeep Yadav, Lockie Ferguson.
Oh, wow. Slightly left field.
He's slightly left field, but I think he's got
Yeah.
pace, right? I was missing someone with pace there.
True.
So I said that's what I went with, and yeah, so there we have it.
One last troll question: how many Mankad style runouts are going to be? Are they going to be in the World Cup?
I think, just for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think there'll be 0.
I've gone for 1. Just Ashwin might play a game or two.
Why not? Ashwin might play a game, and yeah, I mean, I don't think if he's only going to play one game, I don't think he wants to be remembered for that. But yes. Look, but why don't we just finish off with the standings, right? Where in the league they'll end.
Yeah, it's kind of a review of what we already had in our previous episodes.
But let's recap it here.
I think it's. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. It's England. Sorry, it's India, England, Pakistan, Australia. Then I have South Africa. A toss-up between New Zealand and Sri Lanka, but I'm going New Zealand only because I feel below number 6 is too low for New Zealand, who do very well in tournaments. So New Zealand 6, 7 is Sri Lanka, 8 Bangladesh, 9 Afghanistan, 10 Netherlands.
Cool. So I've got India 1, England, Australia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, South Africa 7, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and the Netherlands. Apologies to the Dutch fans, but
so number 7 was who? South Africa.
South Africa.
Oh wow, 6 New Zealand.
Yeah, I think it's among those 3, 5, 6, 7. I just feel Sri Lanka conditions might suit them, and maybe it's Asia Cup recency bias as well. But although they lost to Afghanistan in their warm-up match, but not that really matters much. But so yeah, there you have it. Let us know in the comments what your predictions are for the World Cup. Who's going to win? Top 4. All the questions that we have discussed on the episode. And let us know what you think. Thank you for watching.